Jaiz Bank PLC, a name synonymous with ethical banking in Nigeria. Since 2012, we've been the nation's leading non-interest bank, driven by the mission of making life better through ethical finance. Jaiz Bank PLC is a national bank and a quoted public company owned by over 26,000 shareholders spread over the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. The bank's balance sheet has grown from 12 billion naira in 2012 to about 379 billion naira as of December 31st, 2022. Financing and investment assets also grew from over 30 billion naira in 2012 to 249 billion naira as of December 31st, 2022. But our success is not just about numbers. At Jaiz Bank, we are guided by a core set of values we call ethical, excellence, teamwork, honesty, integrity, customer-centric, accountability, and loyalty. These principles define who we are, and they fuel our ambition to become the undisputed leader in ethical banking across Africa. At Jaiz Bank, we believe that ethical banking can be a powerful force for good, empowering individuals and communities to achieve their goals. Our story begins not with grand pronouncements, but with quiet determination and a vision of a dedicated individual who embarked on a pioneering journey. Alhaji Dr. Umar Mutallab, CON.
Well, the idea of Jaiz Bank started when there was the former head of state, General Sani Abacha, was the Amirul Hajj for Nigeria. I was part of that particular trip, and we were invited to a reception by the Islamic Development Bank, and I was really moved by the organization, the whole system of the Islamic Development Bank. And it was since that time that I, along with many other distinguished fellows, started thinking of setting up an Islamic Development Bank, especially after the Hutuba during the Arafat, which was clearly talking of the consequences of riba. And I felt that there is a need for one to think of going that way, so that we have a bank that is non-interest and is not involved in riba. That is really how the journey started. Well, Jaiz Bank, of course, is to give the opportunity to those, should I say, prospective customers who have another window. They have an alternative. Before the coming of Jaiz Bank, there was no bank that is operating a non-interest system. But at least when Jaiz Bank came, it gave them the opportunity to have an alternative. In other words, they can still use their own, should I say, conventional banking, which is riba-based, but they also have the opportunity to do non-interest bank, which is what the Islamic injunction, the Sharia, said that you should try as much as possible to avoid riba. So it is really to bring in a large number of Nigerians who want to run away from riba. And this bank is set up for all Nigerians from all parts of the country, irrespective of their religious conviction, once they subscribe to the fact that whatever we do, it must be in accordance with the Sharia, which means the Islamic legal system. This is the whole idea behind Jaiz Bank. is to give people opportunity to have an alternative and also to increase participation of people in the banking system. A lot of Nigerians have money under their pillows because they don't want to put it into a riba bank. But when Jaiz came in, the idea is that they now have an alternative. They can put their money, that money under the pillow, they can take it to Jaiz Bank, and they are not subject to any riba whatsoever. Well, it was quite a task because our brothers from the other religions felt that we are going to Islamize Nigeria. So there was a lot of debate, there was a lot of news, there was a lot of information or misinformation that Jaiz is purposely set up to Islamize Nigeria, which is not true. Because, as I said, Jaiz Bank is for all Nigerians, whether you are Christian, whether you don't belong to any religion, so far as you subscribe to the Sharia, which means that the Islamic system of how banking is to be done, you are welcome. Because in our system, both as shareholders and also as employees, we have people who are not Muslims. It is for Muslims, non-Muslims, and for all Nigerians. But as a matter of fact, since we became a PLC, Public Limited Liability Company, we are now a bank for all over the world. Anybody can subscribe to Jaiz shares. All they need to do is to check their system, and they see how they can get across to a stockbroker who can buy them shares in Jaiz Bank. We pursued the exercise. We have to shut our ears to all the various accusations that were being made. We just continued. We will not relent. We pursued it to its logical conclusion. It's with the greater pleasure that we announce to you, Your Eminence, that just last week, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the regulatory body for the financial institutions, granted us a national license, which means that we can now operate in all the different states of the Federation. Until such a time when we were given a banking license, which, alhamdulillah, we are now operating. We're almost in our 12th or 13th year of operation since then. And as I said, I am the pioneer chairman of the bank and also the principal promoter of the bank.
If I have 3 words to describe him, it would be a distinguished leader, a visionary, and a mentor.
Patient, very resilient, and very, very accommodating individual.
It's difficult to find 3 words to describe Dr. Mutallab. Baltimore would say mature, intelligent, and unassuming. It's difficult to find a man who has attained his status and with his wealth, and yet who is characterized by so much humility and modesty.
Alhaji Umar Mutallab can be described as a distinguished, quintessential, and eminent personality of multiple foci that covers various areas such as community, banking and finance industry, academia, association, non-governmental organizations, leadership.
I've had my career in basically banking supervision, and as a result of which I was fortunate to be part of the pension industry. And of course, having been part of the banking industry, obviously, you cannot at a certain level without interacting with him. And given his values, professionalism, it was obvious that he's somebody that everybody would look forward to associating with, and at the same time, of course, learning some lessons from him. And as you're aware, he had a career that cuts across private, public sector at the different levels, political appointment, and but he remained focused as far as the private sector DNA in him, basically.
Well, first of all, Dr. Mutallab was managing director of United Bank for Africa when we were all young bankers. And we always looked up to bankers like him as role models for what we could do in the banking industry. For me personally, in 2005, when he was chairman of First Bank, I received a phone call effectively offering me an executive director position. And what I find most impressive is that this was a position I did not apply for. I was not even aware it was going to be open or vacant. It was a selection that was done purely on merit, and I was hunted to come and be the chief risk officer of the bank. Then after about 6 years, Dr. Mutallab and Oba Tudeko called me to Abuja. And this is 6 years actually. And again, without my asking, without my applying, without my knowing, offered me the role of the chief executive officer of the bank. Now the opportunities given to serve First Bank as chief risk officer allowed me to continue strengthening my own personal reputation in the industry at the highest level. And as you know, I remained the first and the only Northerner to be CEO of First Bank. And this was a bank that was set up in 1894, so in over 100 years. And if I had not been CEO of First Bank, I don't think I would have been tapped to be governor of Central Bank. So I suppose I can't thank them enough. And throughout my years on the board, we enjoyed the benefit of his wisdom, of his experience. He was a chairman of a bank who had been the CEO of a bank. So he wasn't just a board chair, it was just about governance. It was also about knowing the business and knowing what banking is and providing that level of leadership to the management. So yes, there are many ways in which I remember him and I thank him for his role in my life.
Alhaji Umar Mutallab also is a mentor and a coach to several young and middle-aged people, including myself. And some of those virtues that he imparted into us, very self in particular, are the virtues of truthfulness, sacrifice, trustworthiness, and then also being able to give every person without any bias equal opportunities to develop and enhance the potentials that Almighty God has given to all of us.
He has had a lasting impact on my life as an individual, along with many, as a mentor and as a role model, and as a father figure. I would say as a mentor that his outstanding achievements have propelled many of us to strive high in terms of our career aspirations. But I should also say that we have learned a lot from him about the importance of being humble, of being respectful to others, and of being compassionate. In addition to that, I would say that one of the values that we took from him is that there is more to success than material wealth, and that has to be balanced by the positive impact you make in people's lives. And as a father figure, Dr. Umar Mutallab has always been by my side to really encourage me to recognize my achievements and to celebrate these achievements and to offer prayers for me.
This country has gone through many stages of trying to set up non-interest banking. Since the amendment of the Act in 1992, I believe, there have been many attempts to set up the banks. Some failed because the concept was faulty. Some failed because capital requirements were altered. And I know when I was governor of Central Bank, I worked closely with him and with his board to ensure that Jaiz came to fruition just like this. And if you know what it is to run a bank from scratch, and to also be a pioneer in an area in which there is little prior experience in the country, was a very difficult task. Jaiz was a test case. If Jaiz had failed, that would have been the end of Islamic finance in Nigeria. So being able to work with technical partners, provide the leadership, set the bank on a footing of profitability is what opened the door for the other Islamic banks to happen. So at the end of the day, you've got to look at this role beyond a bank. Once you're a pioneer, it's about your role to the entire subsector. Jaiz represented the test case of, is non-interest banking possible? Is it viable? Is it profitable? And I think the fact that the board under the chairmanship of Umar Mutallab was able to steer Jaiz to this level of success, it played a very fundamental role in deepening the market, bringing in these new products, and also expanding Islamic finance.
In July 1991, the Central Bank of Nigeria was lucky to have the banks and other financial institutions decree, which was enacted. That decree provided for non-interest banking. So since 1991. And since then, Umar Mutallab had been struggling to establish one. But the resilience in him is that it took them almost 9 years. Because having gotten the minimum capital, what was the minimum capital then? 2 billion naira. And then in 2004, we had Governor Saludo coming on board and jacking up the minimum paid-up capital for banks across, which was then 25 billion. So obviously they had to go back to the drawing board. And that's the struggle they had up to the time they were able to establish Jaiz Bank, the first non-interest banking institution. So obviously it requires that person of Umar Mutallab to pursue that focused and largely ensuring that we had an at least non-Islamic, non-interest banking in Nigeria. And we thank God today.
Without mixing words, it is on record that Alhaji Umar Mutallab, among many others, piloted the journey that today has brought about Jaiz Bank PLC from Jaiz International PLC. That was the vehicle that was used to give birth to this eminent and respected financial institution in Nigeria called Jaiz Bank PLC. And from that also, many other banks that have actually come on board actually use Jaiz Bank as the platform where they drew resourceful personnel from for them to be able to run the organization. So Jaiz Bank has indeed contributed tremendously to the development, to the promotion, as well as using the Islamic financial institutions as a fulcrum to bring public goods to humanities. And to that extent, one would say that he has laid a very solid foundation that has seen the bank growing, from cradle, to where it is today. And of course, like we always say, the sky will not be the limit of Jaiz Bank. There will be the beginning steps that will take Jaiz Bank to greater heights.
I think it's been immense and remarkable. Dr. Umar Mutallab is a visionary leader who saw the potential for Islamic banking in Nigeria and worked very hard along with other stakeholders to establish Jaiz Bank as a non-interest Islamic bank, navigating it through numerous challenges while capitalizing on opportunities. So in essence, you could actually call him the founding father of Jaiz Bank. And I would even go further to say that he could be labeled as the father of Islamic banking in Nigeria.
By the grace of God, we hope Jaiz Bank will continue to grow from strength to strength. We look forward to the bank going outside the shores of Nigeria. We already have a lot of requests from our neighboring countries, in particular Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Chad, and a number of other countries that they would like that we come and set up a Jaiz Bank in their country. But of course, you know, for banking, everything depends on the central bank. They are the ones who have to give the guidelines of how a bank can go out to the shores of its own territorial shores. And for us, this guideline is yet to be issued. We look forward to the Central Bank of Nigeria issuing the guidelines for non-interest specialized banks like us, how we can go to Chad or go to Ghana or go to Cote d'Ivoire and so on. So we really looking forward to this exercise. It's something that started just 1 or 2 years after our inauguration. We received a delegation from Chad, first from Ghana, then from Togo, then from Cote d'Ivoire, and then later on from Chad. They all want us to go and set up a Jaiz Bank in those countries. But of course, we cannot do that because we're under the auspices of the Central Bank of Nigeria. They have to give us the guidelines. By guidelines, I mean they have to tell us what share capital is required before we can go abroad, whether it is the same share capitalization or it is something much higher or it is something, these are all the details that we look forward to receiving in the not too distant future.
Dear Dr. Alhaji Umar Mutallab, I wish to extend my heartfelt appreciation for the outstanding contribution and service you have delivered in various spheres of life, public, private, and philanthropic.
I will always wish Dr. Mutallab all the best and thank him for what he's done to this country, what he's done for the North, what he's done for me, what he's done for the banking district.
We thank Almighty Allah for the journey so far that He has been able to see Alhaji Umar Abdul Mutallab CON to date. And like we always know you, we know you as somebody that is also a symbol of wasatiyya. Wasatiyya is a concept in Islam which means, a pillar of religious moderation.
For us that have known him and have also worked with him closely, we'll continue to pray for God guidance, for good health, and for him to continue to be who he is, largely promoting, supporting entrepreneurs, whether they're SMEs or whether they're individuals.
I wish him many more years in good health and prosperity, and I hope that the nation will continue to appreciate his contributions to the banking industry and finance landscape in Nigeria.
I'm really happy to have been to have known you and to have learned a lot from you. And I really wish you success in all your endeavors. I pray to Allah to bless you and your family members with happiness, with success in all your endeavors, and with long life and prosperity.
You are also known to be a bridge builder as well as a paragon of virtue. And we want you to sustain these good attributes that we have known you with when we were very, very young to date. And we always want to wish you the best in the remaining part of the years ahead of you that you are going to spend in this world. To continue to impart in us, to continue to be a motivator, to continue to be a mentor and a coach.
But I believe those of us that had the opportunity to work with him may take up from where he is, and hopefully will continue to propagate his values, his passion, and the need for us to promote private entrepreneurship in Nigeria.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm extremely delighted to really be given the opportunity to feature me as a pioneer chairman of Jaiz Bank and also as the principal promoter. And I would like to thank all of you for sparing the time to, in spite of your very, very busy schedules, to attend to this ceremony. I'm extremely delighted, and may God thank all of you tremendously. And also we look forward to you patronizing the bank the best way you can. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Jaiz Bank's story is one of collective achievement, a testament to the power of vision, collaboration, and unwavering dedication. As we look towards the future, we are inspired by the legacy of our former board. And on that note, we say thank you. Together, we build a brighter future, one that is financially inclusive, ethically sound, and empowers all Nigerians to achieve their dreams. Jaiz Bank, for a better life.